What is up, Internet world, and welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you the 2022 Chevy Camaro SS1LE. If you're looking for an almost track-ready vehicle out of the box, straight from the manufacturer, with warranty, with 305s on the back, with a limited slip, with something that looks cool, now I know the blue's debatable, but it's got Brembos. Man, you've got 10-inch wheels on the front, 13s on the back. This thing has a Corvette motor, a 6.2-liter non-supercharged that makes 455 horsepower and 455 pound-feet of torque. You get a Tremec manual transmission. Yes, you have small windows. Yes, the style is sort of dated. People don't really like the front end. I do. But the price, man, there's not much you can get. And they're not going to make this thing anymore. So it's limited supply for you. In general, the Camaro is available in 8 different trims. This one is a 2SS. So if you're thinking about buying a Camaro and you want a base motor, well, you get 275 horsepower. And if you're thinking about the big boy, well, you get 650. This one's different because it's naturally aspirated. But not only that, this thing weighs 3,700 pounds. For a domestic vehicle with a 6.2-liter underneath the hood, it is light. It does 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds, maybe 3.8, depending if you can shift properly, and a quarter mile in very, very, very low 12s. What? And it's 60 grand Canadian. And we get a better deal in Canada than you in America. You're in the 50 grandish and we're in the 60. And if you convert that, that's about 100,000 Canadian.
Uh-oh. Hey, Mike?
Get out, man. Get out. Just get out. I can't believe that guy lost the audio. I can't believe that guy lost the audio. That was like the best, one of the best cars of 2022 in my opinion. 6.2 liters of magic. I know it wasn't supercharged, but it was manual transmission and the gearbox was awesome. It shifted right into gear every time. The clutch was at a good point. The steering was excellent. Handled like gold. Great track car out of the box. Cheap. Wasn't expensive, but I loved it. The seating position inside the car with those Recaros sat really well. I find that when I was looking around, when I was sitting inside, I had great visibility. When I was going around the corners, I didn't feel like I was gonna die or kill myself. The only person that's gonna get killed is you. So to the front, do you guys know anybody that wraps their cars and then when you open the door, you see the original paint color? Yeah, that's what they did. Now it's super cool that they have this in satin black, straight from factory, and they wrapped it. What's not super cool is that when you're driving the car and you look forward, you can see blue paint underneath this hood. You would think they'd put a black hood, to paint it, and wrap it on top. Hey, but they do have these vents here that are totally functional. They could be a little bit bigger, but they still look cool. And they've added this lower spoiler that looks super cool. And then moving below, you have this space for the headlight, the grille, and the black bow tie. But if you take a look at these headlights, you'll see the DRL stretch from end to end. And it's a nice touch because it makes it look wider. Now, if you stand where I'm standing, you'll see that they have like steps and layers to this front bumper, whereas most bumpers are just rounded. And under the headlight, they have this individual light strip, probably to break it up because there's a lot of cuts and angles. And then you have the grills that are all functional, all the way through the upper and the lower grill. And that's how aggressive this Camaro is. GM, you need to stop hiding this. This guy, Shane Parker, built this performance motor, and his name is hiding under this shroud cover. This thing needs to be exposed. You need to have a badge right there to tell everybody that this thing was built by Shane. Shane, big up to you. At AMG, they tell everybody. GM, pump it up. To the side. This is my favorite part of the car, the side. The front is questionable. The back is questionable, but the side is where it looks muscular, looks mean. It's a little bit dated, but it's okay because this is not going to be here in a couple years. Bye-bye Camaro. It screams America. And they've added this badge now, red, white, and blue for America. It also doubles as the French flag, but in reverse, because it means friend. And a friend of a Camaro is a friend of mine. So if we start at the front and I sit right here and I look, you see the width of these front tires? They're so wide that I have about an inch of vision right here. I like the offset. I like how wide the stance is. Now you have 20-inch forged aluminum wheels on this thing, and you can see right on these 6-piston calipers it says 1LE. Of course, they're Brembos because everybody uses Brembos. And as far as the width of the tire goes, these are 285/30/20s. It has sport suspension and obviously mag ride because this is a GM product. And voila, since they use a Corvette-style motor, they obviously have Corvette stuff in it, including mag ride. And you have this wide 13-inch tire that has 305s in the back as well, and a limited slip. This thing has all kinds of stuff under the hood that keeps things cool. It's got a transmission cooler, a diff cooler, and of course an oil cooler. Monster! But the biggest downside about this car is design, and that is because they used a lot of sheet metal here, which is... What on earth? Now they've used a lot of sheet metal on this car, which leads to some poor designing, because look how small this window is. It's really tight. It looks really good on the outside because it looks wide, mean. There's a lot of paint going on. But these windows are so small that it's claustrophobic when you're inside the car. So Ford just revealed the 2024 Mustang, and one of their biggest features was getting inside the car when you're a race car driver with the helmet on. Let's try it out in the Camaro. So the back of the Camaro looks the same as pretty much every other one, with the exception of this massive rear spoiler, because this is a performance version. They have found the worst placement, though, on where to put this SS badge. I've never seen anybody put it right on the back bumper. If somebody pins you, this thing is going to fall out so fast. It should be right here, like every other car, for eternity, for God's sakes. Nonetheless, check out this camera right here. What is that for? That is for the rear view mirror camera, because this window is so small that when you're driving it, you can't see out the back end. It's pretty much impossible to see because there's so much body panels here. And as for the trunk, there's a button here. This comes up. There's the black bow tie again. That's a nice touch. But people complain that there's no space in this trunk. It's not that there's no space, it's just the entry point is super weird. I'll show you why there's space in here. Let me get my booty in here. It is weird. Okay. All right. I'm in. And actually, you can fit another person just like me in here. Look how much space there is over here. There's a ton of room. So there is space. It's just a really weird entry point. I'm not sure what exactly you'd fit in here. Okay. I'm good. Inside the Camaro. When I first got in this thing, all I thought was, if I'm going to buy one, I want the doors to be locked in it when I walk into a showroom floor, because the first thing I see should not be the interior. The way most cars are sold are open the door, sit inside, and visualize yourself driving it. The only piece that makes me feel that way is the shifter. Everything else is just very plasticky and kind of basic. I have to remember what this thing starts at and what this thing is priced at to understand what I'm getting. But I'm getting the motor. And when it sits on a showroom floor, it doesn't really scream motor, which is why the only time that anybody should ever show this car is out to get in for a test drive first, never in the showroom floor, which is why I would always have these cars locked if I ever owned a dealership. So if we start with the door panel, you'll see it's very cut. There's just a lot of pieces that don't really even make sense. There's no symmetry to it. It's just there. It does have features though. It does have 2 memory seats. It does have 64 different colors of ambient lighting built into this aluminum trim, and it does have 9 speakers in your Bose sound system. The Alcantara is nice on the steering wheel and of course in the shift knob and the shift booth. Those are nice touches. The cluster is pretty basic and just does what it has to do. You can selectively pick different options from a track perspective. It does have 4 consistent gauges that stay up there, which is oil, temperature, gas, and battery. I never understand why they have battery nowadays. I mean, nobody really cares about their battery. They can kind of feel it in the car. It's not like they see the battery go down and they're thinking, oh my God, I need a new battery. No, it's getting in it, starting it. There's where the issue is. And moving below, you have the pedals. They're not aluminum, they're just sort of basic. You do have a nice dead pedal, but you'd expect some sort of aluminum pedals, just especially because this is a track car and it's kind of cool. But my biggest no-no about this car is the display. It's not the quality of the display. The software is amazing. It's pretty basic, but it does what it has to do, but it's how it's laid out. It actually faces towards me, but downward. And it's sort of weird. It's the first thing I noticed when I got in the car. I thought, like, why is this thing facing downward? It's supposed to help with glare, but it's kind of annoying because it's looking down. I'm like, here we go. Now it's straight. So it's facing right here. And I don't know anybody sitting in these back seats besides my phone and this wireless charger. And below the 8-inch screen are the HVAC controls, which are perfect, very easy to use. I like how they've integrated the temperature just by rotating these big center vents, which look like turbines, like an Audi TT, or pretty much anything that's inspired by airplanes nowadays, which is pretty much every manufacturer. We're talking to you, Mustang, and Mercedes, and BMW, and everyone else. And moving back from the shifter, you have your stability program and all your different drive modes, which is nice to have right here. I like that it's here and nowhere else. So this is a good move by GM by having it right here. Then there's the cup holders and the center console, which is completely useless. You can't really fit much in it. You can't fit a phone in it. The phone really just does nothing. They do have the plug here, but the USB, 2 USBs, A, not C, and 2 cup holders here, but it's just armrest that's just very basic and plain, and it really shows the price point of the car for this right here. They could have really spruced this up. It doesn't cost much to have a nice center console. At least that's what I think. Thanks for watching this review on my potential favorite car of 2022, the Camaro 2SS1LE, with that magical sounding exhaust and those back tires that just love to cook. Don't forget to subscribe.